this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric, baby, when I turn it on. All through my city. All righty. Who's going to kick us off today?
We live?
Live.
We got it.
Welcome
back to the Realtor Cousins.
Whoop, whoop.
Yay! We have Catherine Savage. She's in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have McCall Schilling. She's in Jacksonville, Florida.
Whoop,
And
whoop.
today, our hot guest of the day is Juli Schilling. This is McCall's mom. And Catherine's and my aunt.
Hi, guys. Hi, ladies.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm just sharing with a couple people, so go ahead.
All right. I'm going to give you your introduction here.
Okay.
Juli Schilling, stager, business owner, landscape designer, mom, wife, grandma, aunt, and one of the most creative and fun people that we know. On a side note, getting to see Juli and her husband Pete's home in the Seattle area is like heading into a magical place. It's peaceful. It has native trees, moss, ferns. I forgot the stream by the front door that greet you as you walk to the front door on the wooden porch. When you enter it feels warm and fun. The artwork and interior colors look like they were always meant to be there. And it's an ever evolving kind of place. Pete, yes. Pete is such a master craftsman, and he rebuilt the home over time to make it one of a kind. And Juli puts soul into everything she does in decorating the place.
Thank you. That's very nice.
And also, if you are lucky enough to have her cut your hair, you'll likely walk away with one of the best haircuts of your life.
Ever haircut.
Yes.
I saved a lot of money. I saved a lot of money growing up on that regard.
Yes.
I think we all did.
Yes.
We all did. We all did.
Yes. You get a counseling session and a haircut at the same time. So
all of you were also great walking advertisement for my business. So
yes.
it was a win-win pretty much.
Yes. So welcome back, everyone. We are on, I think, episode 10 of our series, where every Thursday we three cousin realtors get together, talk about real estate. We interview someone in the industry. Today, we are blessed with a home stager who happens to be my mom and their aunts. So we are just so happy to be here. So we're going to kick it off with a fun game. We actually played this last week with our last guest, and it was a fan favorite. So we're going to say a name or a term, a word or a term, and you're going to say what comes to mind. So
okay. I feel a lot of pressure.
Catherine, kick it off.
Okay, all white, everything.
Makes me kind of twitchy.
Okay, skylights.
I love skylights, especially in Seattle with the rain. It's an amazing sound.
Shiplap.
Shiplap. Well, of course, it makes me think of Joanna and Chip. I do think it's beautiful. It's a definite feel, you know? You're either into that or you're not. I think it's pretty.
Okay, IKEA or Restoration Hardware, and why?
IKEA as a young family or single people typically is a great place to get fun new everything for $20. Restoration Hardware is furniture I would consider to be forever because it's a huge investment. That is exactly polar opposite choices.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
here's another one. Collector's items on display.
Well, that's what we all do. That's what you do. It tells your life story. It might be a collection of, my grandson would have a collection of Matchbox cars. Someone might have a collection of antique vases. It's awesome. Things collected and grouped together tell a story there. That's a great way to go.
Oh, Lexi, I think you cut out for a second. What was yours?
Okay.
Thrifting.
Thrifting's my favorite thing in the world to do. I mean, whether it's to buy things or not, it's just, to me, it's very stimulating and fulfilling. I always find a treasure, pretty much always find a treasure. And if it's not for me, it's for someone else. I listen to what people are watching for, looking for, needing. I send pictures to people saying, could this be the desk you're looking for? It's this price, blah, blah, blah. It's a great way to go. It's great to reuse always, if you can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about fully committing to Christmas decor?
I see Christmas decor as I see any decor for your home and your personal life. Take time to collect your most favorite, most wonderful things, whether it's ornaments or it's candlesticks at Christmas time, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be the, tchotchke, cheapy Christmas things that some people collect. I feel that way about everything. I would rather take time and get something I love, a piece I love, love, love. Even if you ended up with that one piece on a deserted island, it would be your very favorite ever thing.
All right. Mirror above the bed.
Hubba hubba, that's what I say.
So the reason I say that is because I went on a listing appointment a couple months
Did
ago.
not see that.
Yes, I did see that. And I was by myself and I said, sir, no, sorry. It was not a listing appointment. I misspoke. It was the photography appointment. We had the listing signed. We were ready for photos. I was there by myself with the photographer. And I said, I don't want to say his name, but I said, Johnny, you got to take that down. It was horribly ugly.
Yes. Yes. I have to say, I have not seen that in real life myself. I've seen it in movies, but no, I think that's kind of a personal preference and it should be down for a home sale for sure.
All right, last one.
Last one, clutter.
Oh, clutter. It's almost like the white room for me. It makes me twitchy. I go to visit friends or people sometimes, and it's all I can do to not just jump up and start helping them out. I call it, helping them out, reorganizing, putting some things away. It makes me nuts, pretty much.
That's a good segue. I am not exactly sure how you started, even being your daughter. I have no idea how you got into this realm. So you are a professional stager, and
Right.
you do go into friends and family's homes and totally redo their house.
Right.
You've been known to ask someone to leave for the night, and then you
I
totally
always ask them to
yes.
leave.
So dive in and tell us how this all started.
It
if you
really
were born
did
with
start
it.
that way. It was being at a friend's house and saying, gosh, have you ever thought about painting that wall this color, because then this piece, blah, 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 blah. And that would happen. Or just tell someone, if someone was feeling a little blue about life in general, I'd say, when you leave for work Friday morning, leave me a key. I'm going to show up in the morning, turn on some music and redo your house. Oh, I mean, what woman doesn't love that? So that's how it really started. One of the friends of mine that I did that for happened to work for a big name builder in the Bellevue area. And they happened to be needing a stager at that time. And she said, why don't you apply? So I took a big basket of right out of the oven chocolate chip cookies to this meeting, made sure everyone had cookies and coffee. And they wanted to see storyboards. And they were fun in that they would give you the scenario. This is the house. This is the size it is. What we want is a mother-in-law kind of second master. And grandma comes to town and she sews costumes for the kids. They would give me all this detail. So then my job was to set up grandma's beautiful room with a sewing area, and all of that. And this builder wanted detail, like down to toothbrushes, how many toothbrushes there would be, the whole thing. So I worked for them for I'm probably almost 10 years. And for different reasons, they did different things, went on to do different things, sold the business. So I've been on my own for a while now. It's a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
So you use the word staging. What is staging?
Staging is truly showing your home, condo, whatever, in its absolute best light. You want to make it look as clean as possible, as crisp as possible, as roomy as possible. Scale means a lot in staging. So I really think it's just about showing the house as well as you can. You want people to notice the architecture or the stability of the quality, everything good about the house, and not so much about the people that live there and their things. And sometimes that's all you notice. So staging's bringing in all new, good looking things to make the house just show really well.
Yeah, you don't want to be known as the house with the zebra cushions.
Right.
Like when a buyer sees three homes as realtors, we don't want people to refer to it as the cat
That
box
house that had the kitty litter box, or that house that had, remember the dishes weren't done, or whatever. Yeah.
And those things do stand out, let's be honest.
I think Nicole was just in a house where there was like stuffing or like fluff on the ceilings.
Yes, I need to bring up a picture.
What was it?
Hold on one second.
It looked like the inside of a pillow that was just like glued to the ceiling.
Like clouds, kind of.
So it was this crazy ceiling situation. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, and it had glow sticks underneath.
Wow. Well, that's super creative for sure.
And those were renters in the house we are selling.
Yikes. So. Nope. Bad idea. Bad idea. If you own a home and your child thinks that would be really fun, that's one thing, but not to show a house. No.
Yeah.
Big no. Who's next? Let's go, girls. Somebody's got a question.
Okay, so what's the difference then between staging and decorating?
Staging is streamlining, again, with really clean, fresh everything. Decorating might be adding to what they already have, maybe. I don't know. I do editing as well. People that are living in their homes that are getting it ready for sale. There are a lot of times that their furniture works great, but I would edit out anything extra, things off the counters, things off the floors, all of that, kind of just to make it show its best again.
Honestly, as a realtor and my mother's spokesperson, I would say staging is removing the personal touches, the family photos, the wedding pictures, the collectibles, the things that especially valuable items. Staging is removing that so the buyer can see themselves there, and decorating is adding that. It's adding the, family photos and wedding pictures and cluster of ornaments on a table.
Right. Yeah.
One is removing and one is adding. So that's my 2 cents.
Great. Yeah.
That on your own. Like, I have a listing coming up and I'm really good friends with the people, and I love the way she collected all of her thrift items and repurposed everything. And I understand how it's all special and it looks good together, but I can't personally edit it. So I'm bringing in a stager to do exactly what you said.
I'm hired a lot of times to be the bad guy, kind of.
Yes.
Especially in cases where you're friends or friends of friends, it's tough to be the one. But I mean, I don't have a problem with it because it's what I do, and I try to be gentle. But I'm hired a lot of times to be that person, to say, "Oh boy, guys, there's a lot to do here. We've got a lot to do. Is your garage empty by any chance? Because that would be a great place to go ahead and put this and this and this and this, that kind of thing."
Probably another good situation where you have people get out of the house for a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's really, really best, because no matter what you are looking at to move, they'll say, "Oh, we've never had that over there. That's not going to work." You you start hearing that and you think, well, and once you decide, well, okay, I'll leave that there, kind of goofs you all up. It's a zen, it's a flow. It's nothing personal. It's just, I kind of decorate by intuition and by how it feels and the light coming in and the whole thing. So it's best if the homeowner leaves. I don't want to offend them, so that's best. Yeah.
I
They
think
get it.
that makes
And a lot of times they say, great. I say, go to Starbucks, treat yourself for a minute. And they're like, okay, we're out of here. So
done.
it usually works.
Yeah. We're kind of similar about because houses here in Charlotte are selling in like one weekend, and we
Right.
usually have open houses all throughout the weekend. We were just like, okay, well, if you just use this as an opportunity to get out of town for the weekend, then
that's perfect.
Yeah. So we kind of operate the same way. But this is a really good segue into talking about our different markets. And as different as our markets all are across the country, the one thing in common is that houses are moving so quickly. And so what are your thoughts around staging in this market because things are moving so quickly?
I still
Is
think
it worth-
it's
is it
still
worth
the
it?
best way to go. Yeah. I mean, you'll know when you look at the house, you'll know the answer to that.
Mhm.
I still think it's best. I really do. I think it's going to bring you your top dollar for sure.
Well, tell stories how you've done a staging and it sells in 24 hours and you need to remove the staging in 3 days. Like it happens, but it's worth for the photos and for those initial open houses.
Well, the photos are going to bring people in for sure. The price and the photos in the area, it's all tied together, and that's what will bring your people to the open house. So that's your best bet for sure. Worth the money. In my case, some of my realtors treat and pay for the staging. And in some cases, the homeowner pays for staging, and sometimes they split it. So that works out all different ways, and it can be pretty affordable. You can shop around with stagers as well as anything else. So
yeah. Lexi and Catherine, what do you guys do when you have a listing for staging? I know I'll start with my team. We pay for the initial consultation, which is the stager to walk through, tell what works, what doesn't work, has a full report, be the bad guy. We do pay for that. I think it's around a $250 fee, depending on where you're at. And then depending on what needs to be done, either we cover it or the seller does. It's all case by case basis. But what do you guys do?
With my dad's houses for the last 6 years, he's flipped the bill for that, for the staging of the model homes. But then for the last while, I chipped in and helped with that as well, just because we had a couple that were taking forever to sell, and it costs money to store. The stagers charged you per month to keep that furniture in the house, and so it got pretty expensive. But we couldn't just sell this blank $500,000 house, especially because I was sitting there weekend after weekend after weekend, and people needed it staged, I think. So I mean, that was just something we paid for.
Do you guys think too, sometimes it's a matter of the layout of the house? Absolutely. Some homes, and nowadays, especially with open concept, it's tough for a buyer to come in and see, how will we use this? Is this the dining room, or is this an office, or what? So staging helps in that case too.
My dad was a stickler too. He said, as soon as the people would come in, if there's a comfortable couch or a stool to sit on, and as soon as you give them a bottle of water and they start talking, then you have something, you have a connection. If there's no place for them to sit, it's you can't.
True. It just feels cozy. You just and sometimes if it's staged like in a higher priced home, or really not even necessarily, if it's staged real well, it sells sort of a lifestyle that you might be looking for. You know what I mean? You might be leaving
an aspirational brand,
a condo with your mom's hand-me-down furniture, which has been fine, but you walk into this new place and you think, wow, this is the lifestyle I would really love to have. So there's that kind of feeling too. Even though the sad part is once they buy it, grandma's furniture comes with them, but it's something to aspire to, you know?
I love that. No, that's a really good point. And that actually segues into a next question. So one of your superpowers is repurposing, thrifting, and finding decor diamonds in the rough. So let's talk for a couple minutes about thrifting. And also there's a little known business called reuse locations. So builder reuse locations called like Ballard Reuse in Seattle.
Yes.
And in Jacksonville, there's a place called Eco Relics where they actually buy the interiors of older homes, and you can reuse like structural pieces and islands and countertops and doors.
Great way to go.
So let's talk for a minute about repurposing, thrifting, and all that.
Again, you know, that with thrifting and repurposing isn't everybody's cup of tea as far as how it looks. To me, that means shabby chic or a farmhouse, or you know, sometimes you know, it's rare to find, you know, glass and I'm just thinking of glass tables and fancy furniture. But yeah, I mean, watch on YouTube DIYs all day long with how to use old shutters and how to use an old ladder, and you know, there's all kinds of fun things you can do, and it's everywhere. It's a blast to go digging for things like that.
So do you start with an image in mind, or do you find the piece first?
Either, whatever it takes, you know. I encourage people that have no idea what their decor is to go through magazines and don't even stop to think about what it is you love about this room. If you look at a visual of a room and you go, wow, tear it out of that book and hang on to it. And you'll go through and you'll find a couple more, tear them out. It starts to build this look, and all of a sudden it will become clear to you, oh, I guess I really do love modern, or, you know, mid-century modern, or farmhouse, or whatever. It all kind of comes together. If you love each thing, no matter what it is, you love it. So it all works together somehow. It's weird, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's like collecting a wardrobe. You know, I love that skirt and I love that top. And then, oh, and I bought the scarf. Oh, weird. It all goes together, you know, because you tend to love the colors or the textures or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that's a really good place for people to start. We were joking the other day, last week on our last call, about how, you know, sometimes we'll go into Target or, you know, wherever looking for like, oh, I'm going to transform my room, or I'm going to get all of this decor. And then we end up leaving with like one single thing. Lexi was saying she left with a candle last time she went.
Yeah, I watched that. She was great. She was a great guest. That was a fun one to watch. But yeah, that's true. Maybe it's looking at a color palette. Maybe it's getting some color chips at the paint store, whether you're painting or not. You put together kind of a little palette, and then you buy things within those realms of color. They don't have to be exactly those colors, but if you love this navy blue, well, then you'll see that, gosh, that really creamy yellow looks well with that, or you'll start to build a story that way too, you know, with just through those color chips.
And when you go to pick everything out, whether you're, you know, getting reclaimed items, or you're going to like a decor store or furniture store, before you go, do you kind of map out the room, like from a bird's eye level, like this is what's going to go where?
For myself or for a staging?
For yourself and for staging.
I collect as I go. I mean, I've never gone and just bought one whole room ever. That's kind of a spendy way to do it for me. You know, I'm always on some sort of a budget. So I collect.
Can I just interject for a second? Because when I was on the Peloton the other day, apparently spendy is a Northwest word. No one else says that, by the way.
Really? Spendy. Oh, spendy meaning expensive.
Yes. I just thought that was fun. She was from Portland and she's like, no one says spendy but the Northwest. So
spendy. Yeah, I just collect piece by piece. I think again, it's like that ornament or Christmas decor thing. If you just keep, buy the best you can at the time. Um, Several things in my home that I spent a little more on, I still absolutely am glad I did. You know what I mean? You don't ever really get tired of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It feels like a treasure, kind of. Not that it cost a lot, but that it took time to kind of put that piece in place, whether it's a carpet or a lamp or whatever. Yeah, it's a slow collection.
Shied away mentality.
I'm sorry?
I think that meant, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was just gonna say, I think we're moving away from that mentality and more of a consumerism mentality.
Right.
I think that people don't cultivate a collection that's meaningful these days as much as let's get cheap stuff at Home Goods
Well, listen,
and paste it up because it's trendy.
There's nothing wrong with that to me if you're a young family, because we all know whether you have children or you've been one, your things get trashed. So I don't think that's all bad. And I think that you really do kind of start your collecting of serious things later. You really do. When my kids were little, yeah, I didn't really put that much care.
I will ruin your couch.
Yeah. I remember telling him, when you grow up, I'm going to put my feet on your wall or whatever. I mean, it's just a different time period. So that maybe is a thing that happens when you're a little older. But I don't know. I get why IKEA makes what they make a year, and I find things there all the time that are great little accents for fun little, little lamps for shelves, or I'm not putting them down. They're so useful in a million ways, but for your forever furniture, that probably wouldn't be my first pick, nor Restoration Hardware, because you might as well take out a second mortgage to buy a few of their pieces, And may I add this silly little side note? I'm always watching for the perfect couch. We've never had the perfect sofa. So I happened to be on Craigslist, and people had offered a Restoration Hardware beautiful leather sofa. And it said however many years old it was, and it was just getting good. And I thought, that's going to be my sofa. So the picture of it was great. We went and sat on it. It was really neat, super comfy, down-filled, blah, blah, blah. Great price, especially for Restoration Hardware. Bought it, brought it home, lived with it for maybe 2 weeks. Now, I mean, it's a classic. It's Restoration Hardware. Everyone wants it. The people said, you were our first call, so you get it. But all these people wanted it. Well, I mean, we used it for a couple of weeks and went, we don't even like this couch. The leather was beautiful. It was seasoned really well, but we're both kind of short people, and it's a very deep couch. So when I sat on it, my feet were right at the end of the sofa, of the seat. The meters were much longer. So we put it right back on Craigslist and sold it for what we bought it for. So there you go. Yay. The end. We're still looking for a sofa, but that was just
my favorite.
Lexi, say that again.
My favorite one was that blue jean one.
Me too. I was just going to say that.
Me too. That was a great couch.
Denim. It was a denim sofa, sectional. That was really
the
good.
Biggest sectional I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, I would have sleepovers with 6 girls, and we would all lay separately, around.
The beauty of that one, when the kids were young, was that you could wash it, take it all apart and wash it. And I mean, that's priceless. We love dogs. We all live on the couch. So
you've talked a couple times about budget and decorating on a budget. So I'm a first-time home buyer. I just spent all my money on the down payment, closing costs, and I'm happy. I'm excited. I have grandma's couch. I have my hand-me-downs from college. Like, what are some first-time buyer decorating tips, and what are some tried and true decorating on a budget tips? Like, where do you start?
I'm going to say start back with those pictures. Start with collecting photos and from magazines and paint palettes, and do a notebook. Just stick them all in a notebook, and the story will become clear. And it might be the first thing that you think, well, what if you buy a beautiful Persian carpet that you just really love? Then you start pulling the colors out of that carpet we'll do a sofa in teal because there's teal in the carpet, or you know what I mean? You just build off of that, and you will have to sit on some and own some funky things for a while just to have a place to sit. But that's okay. That's okay. And you just take your time. And when it all comes together, you go, wow, I love this. So,
yeah. And you can still have some of those older pieces and they actually work in your vision, and they're broken in and comfy, and maybe they were your grandma's, and you're like,
it might end up being that you love it so much you just reupholster it later, or have that kind of plan going.
That's what Kate said last week too. So that I'm glad you guys are both in agreement.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
I do happen to know a family that when they bought their custom home, and it's beautiful, they did have the funds to just go ahead and buy rooms at a time, and there is no doubt it's a really pretty house, but it doesn't feel personal. It looks like a magazine house. I don't see their life story. I don't see anything about any of them personally. Do you know what I'm saying? So to me, even if you can, don't. Still take the time to collect. And your husband might love that beat up old leather chair, which would be beautiful with your white sofa. And so that's what it's about.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of had this discussion separately where we've talked about how there are so many, especially influencers and bloggers out there that all have almost the same exact living room, like piece by piece, everything is exactly the same. And you're right, it's beautiful, but there's nothing really unique about it. And so I love that idea of slowly collecting, and that speaks to your house, and why your house is so fun and unique and beautiful is because you've slowly collected all of these different things. So I hope to be that way someday.
You will be. You just start it now. When you guys are out, you're out wandering around and you see a painting you both love, that's where you start. Or you see a piece of driftwood for your garden, that's where you start. It doesn't matter what it is. If one of you or both, especially if both of you, that's really cool. Both of you love it, or you get it for your anniversary, or then when you look back at it, you can tell your family and kids later that we bought that on our second anniversary when we were in Mexico, or that's a neat way to do it. It builds your family story, guys.
That should be the theme of this episode. We should have named it that.
Well, build your family story.
Through decor.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest house you've ever seen in your travels?
I went to see a house to edit it, where they keep their things, and when I was,
hold on one second. When you say edit it, they're still living in it, right?
Yes, that's where the people are living there.
Just to clarify.
You're getting it set up to either for pictures or to show, but editing out what doesn't need to be there, that kind of thing.
Cool.
Well, when she opened the door, super nice people, couple with a young little girl, little tiny grandma kind of house, real cute. I was hit in the face with the smell of, I didn't know what, but I knew it wasn't good. So we started walking through. I finally realized or discovered it was the diaper pail that was overflowing in the nursery. So we had a little chat about that. But the weird part of that little house was in the living room, they had a male and female sarcophaguses. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Wait, like the mummy thing?
Yes, they're like caskets, but they're really ornately decorated.
And they're standing up. They're huge,
Yeah,
right?
a male and a female, and they were their prized possessions. And I said, thinking those should probably go out of the living room. And they were like, really? I said, well, yeah, it evokes the feeling of death and tombs and well, I mean, they were a little bit shocked that I didn't want them to keep them in the living room, but they did move them out of the living room. That was one of the weirdest ones.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It was awkward because they really loved them.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like their best ever thing. So
I mean, that speaks to the fact of a realtor meeting them and being like, you need to move these to sell your home. They would be offended. But
well,
if a stager,
it was the agent saying, I'm gonna need you to go in. So I remind people too in my job to, like you had mentioned earlier, put personal photos away, any coin collections, anything super duper valuable that you would just die if something happened to it. Weapons, drugs, even, not necessarily recreational drugs, but prescription drugs and things, all of that stuff completely out of the home. Mostly real estate agents will be right with their clients. Open houses aren't happening like they used to where people could just drift around, but still, I mean, put those things away so that you don't even have to think about it. That's the best. I forgot where I was going with that.
the weirdest house you've seen.
Oh yeah, that was the weird one. I remind people not to cook fish or things that are odorous, before
Yeah.
open houses. Or
I mean, it's the little things. You live in your house differently than when you're selling it. So
yes, for sure.
Any surprises you found?
Yes, I have a really good story. I was working with this agent that I just love, older guy. He had called me to come and help him stage they called it an earth home. The back of this home, and it was a beauty, very, very beautiful home. Built into the back of it was built into a hillside, large, large hillside. And as you pulled in, the property went on, and there was a old barn, but this earth house had all glass around the front, and then the back is buried and grass growing on the top. So she talked about how you could hear deer walking on your roof. But anyway, the thing was, this woman, her husband had passed. They'd raised 2 boys in this house, and she was getting ready to move into a smaller place. So she said, use whatever is there that you can use. If you can't use it furniture-wise, go ahead and put it in the garage. So I got there with all my things. She just had a few things there. The master bed was still there and a couple others. But one of the bedrooms had a large armoire in it. And the agent I was working with, he was going in that room. We needed to move it out of there. And I was in the other, master doing something. And I heard him say, I'm going to take this out and I need the dolly. And off he went to get the dolly. And then I heard him say, oh my gosh, Juli. And I thought, oh no. I was thinking this thing fell over on him or what. Went running in there and there was money all over the floor. Money, like bundles of money, $100 bills, money, 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 money. Like it rained money. It's like, we both were like, what the heck? So we started gathering it up. It had been on the top of this armoire, dusty. Obviously, no one had ever cleaned up. She had a cleaning crew in there once a week to all these years.
Thank goodness they didn't find it.
I know. So we took it all, set this pile of money on the kitchen counter and went back to work and kept kind of going, wow, that's crazy. Well, eventually I said, Ron, do you want to count this with me? He said, I'm dying to count it. So we sat down, started counting, and it ended up being $47,000. in $100 bills and bundles of 50s. And the date on the bundles, I want to say it was like 2003 or whatever it was. Anyway, we stacked it all up, put it in a brown paper bag, stuck it up on the counter, on the cupboard. And he was going to see her the next day. She was coming to sign the paper. So he said, I'm just going to set it up here and I'll let her know. Great. So off I go. Later, I heard the husband had a gambling issue, and he was notorious for stashing money. They found money in all kinds of places. The son had cleaned out the garage and barn area and found money in cans, and money wadded up in this and in that. So they made sure to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. But she had no idea this money was up there, and of course was thrilled. I mean, who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
And I remember calling my brother and saying, we found $47,000. And he said, it was mine. I mean, who loses that kind of money, right? So that was a big surprise. That was really fun. I work for him periodically, and every time we're together and showing, looking through a home with people, I'll say, Ron, tell our story. And he gets really happy. Says, sit down, everyone. It just happened a couple days ago. It was fun. So that was a surprise.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I mean, we could talk to you for hours. I mean, obviously, we're family. You're so easy to talk to. So we did get 4 questions from our viewers.
Okay.
So we're gonna bust through them quickly. So don't talk too long.
Okay.
Okay. I got a question on my YouTube. What would be a few questions to ask a prospective stager before hiring? If you're interviewing a couple of stagers.
I would ask to see some photos of things they've done. Maybe even some referrals, just some clients that they've worked for. And then what they would want to do, how they would do my home. What do you think needs to happen here?
Yeah.
And of course, prices too. That's kind of, it's all over the board like everything else. So get an idea of what they want to charge. Was that quick?
That was a perfect answer.
You're just different because you do things so old school, and like you do have so much referral business. You don't have a website, you don't have this, you don't have that. So like I think with you it's definitely referral based. And there's something to be said for that. Like agents in offices, they definitely share the best people, and you have enough business to go around. So
there you go. I love it. Did you have another question, Goo?
We had cousin Natalie messaged, can Aunt Julie just decorate all of our houses?
Yeah. Yes, of course, Natalie, I would love to. Let's start with yours. Send me a ticket and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Hey, that's only like $500, so.
I didn't say I wasn't charging you for the decorating.
Okay. What would be the best way to deal with having buyers remove their shoes before entering property? I assume this question means when your home is on the market, what's the best way to deal with people?
Absolutely, just ask. Just make sure you ask. You can put up signage. Definitely put booties by the door, and let your agent know that's something you absolutely must have. They'll respect it for sure.
I definitely think that the booties is the best way to go, because I think that people get weirded out with having to like take off their shoes, and
sometimes, yeah.
I don't know what the deal is. I had a client the other day who just said, I don't want to take off my shoes. And I was like, okay, but it's COVID and they require it.
Yet. Well, then you'll just have to wait right here and we'll yell. We'll describe it from room.
Yeah, we can FaceTime you from
upstairs. I'll FaceTime you.
Yeah. I mean, really, then booties are great because they can go on it. Maybe they don't want to take off heels but I get it. And when you've got super light carpet and you're planning to have a lot of people through.
Or even like someone who may be handicapped or something like that. Of course, there's special cases, but a booty will work.
Yeah.
I'll put a booty on my client 100%. Sit
I
down
was
on the
gonna say,
stairs.
even if you need to help them.
Yeah.
You
No.
sit down, Cinderella, and I'll put your booties on for you. I mean, if that's a requirement, it just is.
Yep. How do you feel about pet accessories? That was one of the questions. Should that be removed before
Yeah.
staging?
Yes, and usually pets are gone when they're showing homes. Absolutely, and only because there are people that are highly allergic to cats or dogs, and if they see that a cat lives there, even if you vacuum every hour, even if there isn't an issue with dander or any of that, it will send up a flag and it could totally turn them off. Why take the risk? Not everybody loves pets. I just can't imagine that, but it happens.
Yeah.
I would just take it away and then it's not an issue. Also put alcohol away, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, nobody needs to see a bar set up. That's offensive to some people, as is religious stuff or political stuff. Why get people riled when they're looking,
Well, that goes back to like, you don't want to be the house with the cat tree. You don't want to be the house with the, certain political flag. Like you just, if you want as many eyes on the property and as many offers as possible, just neutralize. So
neutral.
To summarize staging, neutralize,
clean,
neutralize. Yeah.
Clean.
Yes.
Clean. I saw a house yesterday. Every door, all the doors were white, except for that they were all Goodye'd with fingerprints and whatnot in it. And it was going on the market for a little over 700,000. And I thought to myself, if I were buying a home for almost $1 million, do I want to start with scrubbing all the doors? No. And it's super easy to do. You need to look at your home like you've never seen it before and really pay attention to the details and what you would and wouldn't.
And when people see that, they think deferred maintenance. They think, have you been taking care of the HVAC? Have you been taking care of the roof?
Right.
If you can't take care of the doors, are you taking
You
care of
can't clean the doors. What else don't you do? Right. That's exactly right. The cleaner and the crisper, the better.
Yeah.
So
to summarize, do you have a couple sentences for homeowners looking to sell?
Well, I would say, boy, if you're even thinking about it, now is the time. It's a hot market. I don't know. I think it's kind of the same with all of your areas too, but in Seattle right now, they're selling in literally hours, minutes, and for way over, and for many, many multiple offers. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to move, but I've thought, shoot, should we sell ours right now?
Yeah. Just move to a condo and rent for a couple of years and suss it out.
Honestly, it's a really, really hot market. So unfortunately, the people with the dirty doors, that'll probably sell right away anyway, but who knows? We'll see. This has been really fun, you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the insight. You've answered a lot of questions, and
Good.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I love you, girls. I mean, I love you, ladies. I love you, professional women.
We love you, and thank you so much for coming on.
Welcome. Thank you too.
Well, wait.
Oh.
What? Do you want more clients?
Do I?
Yeah, if we have people in Seattle area that are looking for some.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
That would be great.
Honestly, nationwide, I feel like people could call you, set up a FaceTime.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
So in the show notes, in the description, we have your cell phone number. And like I said, you are a little bit old school. So you don't have the website, you don't have the social media, but you are absolutely a wealth of knowledge. So if anyone reaches out to any three of us realtors, we'll connect them with you, and I'm sure you'll do a consultation.
That'd be great.
It's so fun to be around. So
absolutely. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. Oh,
Bye. We'll see. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. This has been the Real Estate Cousins live every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Ta-ta. Wait, Mom, stay here. Don't quit.
Are you off?